I still can't fully believe what I'm about to tell you, but I lived through it, and maybe someone else has too. If you've ever heard a voice like this, leave a comment below. Maybe then I won't feel completely insane. It happened last summer. We went camping in a remote valley in northern Montana, miles away from the nearest sign of civilization. It was me, my cousin Jake, and two of his childhood friends. After winding through the mountain roads, we finally reached a dense forest where even cell service gave up. The sky was heavy and gray, though it never rained. The air smelled like damp earth and moss, thick, alive. By the time we set up camp, it was nearly 4 p.m. Bare trees surrounded us. Dry branches crackled underfoot. Every now and then we'd hear the harsh caw of a crow. We pitched our tents, started a fire. Jake pulled out his guitar. The others began roasting marshmallows. Everything felt nearly peaceful. Around 10 that night, the sky had turned pitch black. The soft strum of Jake's guitar mixed with the crackling fire. And then we froze. A voice echoed from deep within the forest. Just one word. Hey. It sounded familiar, unsettlingly familiar. It was Jake's voice, but Jake was right there in front of us, sitting by the fire, playing his guitar. The voice, though, it had come from somewhere out in the trees, maybe 30, 40 meters away. From behind the thick trunks, no one spoke. We just exchanged a look. You're not messing with us, right? I asked. Jake rested the guitar in his lap. That wasn't me, he said quietly. I swear. But I knew that voice. It was his, exactly his. And yet, something was wrong. Like the sound had been hollowed out. As if only the shell of the voice remained, stripped of anything human. Eventually, everyone headed to their tents. Mine was a little farther from the fire. When I stepped inside, the first thing I noticed was silence. No wind, no bugs, nothing. Even the air felt like it had stopped moving. It was as if the entire forest had held its breath. A few minutes after I closed my eyes, I heard something outside, a dragging sound, like something heavy being pulled slowly across the ground. It stopped, right outside my tent. And then, the voice came again. Hey, come look. This time, a chill shot through me. It was Jake's voice again, but off. The tone matched, sure, but there were strange pauses between the words, like someone who'd memorized how to speak, but still didn't understand the meaning. The words didn't trip over each other, but they carried no feeling. It sounded wrong, mechanical, like a broken imitation. Just then, a beam of light swept across the top of my tent, Jake's flashlight. From outside, I heard him whisper, "Did you hear that too?" "Yeah," I whispered back. "It was your voice. Again." By morning, none of us had slept. We sat around the dying fire, eyes heavy, nerves raw. Then we saw it. The crow. The same one we'd heard cawing all night. It was lying still, right beside the fire pit. Dead. No blood, no wounds, just lifeless. Who or what could have done that? We looked at each other. No one spoke. Finally, Jake broke the silence. Last night, that voice, we all heard it, didn't we? We nodded, all three of us. Same voice, same dead tone, same emptiness. Then Jake told us something else. When he got back to his tent, the zipper on his backpack was open. He was sure he'd closed it earlier. Nothing was missing, but it felt like something had looked inside. We packed up early and left. The drive back was quiet. None of us said much, and we haven't talked about it since. Not until now. Whatever it wasn't an animal. It wasn't a person losing their mind. It was something else. And it wasn't just mimicking us. It was learning. So if you ever find yourself deep in the woods and you hear a voice call out to you, especially one that sounds familiar, don't answer. If you've ever heard anything like this, drop a comment below. Maybe this didn't just happen to us. Subscribe for more strange stories like this. And one last thing, I wouldn't recommend listening to this one at night. I've never shared this story with anyone, not because you wouldn't believe me, but because a part of me still hopes it wasn't real. If anything like this has ever happened to you, please write it in the comments. Maybe then I won't feel so alone. It happened 2 years ago. I went camping alone in the middle of Oregon. I'd been planning it for weeks. No phone, no people, just me, the trees, and the wind. The spot I chose was deep inside the national forest. You couldn't drive there. I had to hike over an hour with all my gear. The forest felt ancient. Not historically, but in a way that made it seem like it remembered things it shouldn't. There were no birds, only the slow creaking of branches above me, and somewhere far off, a low, constant hum. It wasn't a sound you heard exactly, more like something you felt in the back of your head. I set up camp by a small lake. The water was so still it looked like glass. I cooked dinner, watched the sun fade behind the trees. The air turned cold fast. Soon the only warmth came from the fire. That night the forest was unusually quiet. Too quiet. No bugs, no breeze. Just the fire crackling and my own breath. I was sitting near the lake when I heard it. A splash. Then a voice. Faint, but clear. Hey! I turned toward the sound. No one was there. Just my reflection in the water, staring back at me. But something felt wrong. It was blinking slower than I was. And when I tilted my head, it didn't move. I froze. Then the voice came again. Closer this time, sharper. Come here. The area around me was empty. No footprints, not even a ripple on the water. Just my reflection, still there. But now, it was smiling. I wasn't. I stepped back slowly, grabbed my flashlight, scanned the waterline. Nothing. But when I turned off the light, the reflection didn't vanish. It stayed, still smiling, still watching me. I didn't sleep that night. I sat with my back against a tree, gripping my knife, listening to every tiny sound. At some point before sunrise, I must have passed out. When I opened my eyes, the lake was gone. Not dried up. Gone. Like it had never existed. Dry grass, cracked dirt, and where the fish had been, there they were. Scattered on the ground. Dried out. Motionless. No water. Not a single drop. I checked my GPS. Same coordinates, same trail. But the lake? Gone. Just emptiness. I packed up and left. Didn't speak. Didn't look back. And I told no one. Until now. Whatever it was out there. Subscribe for more stories like this, and one more thing. I wouldn't recommend listening to this at night. It's not easy for me to tell this story, because every time I think about it, I feel like I'm still there. But maybe someone else has been through something like this. If you have, leave a comment. Maybe it wasn't just me. This happened last fall. I went hiking through rural Europe to clear my head. Somewhere along the trail, I found a village, one that barely showed up on the map. Its name was Velinora. They told me no one lived there, but some of the windows still had curtains, fresh ones. The trail passed through thick forest. After 2 hours of climbing, the trees opened up. And there it was, stone houses, moss-covered roofs. No dust, no cobwebs, not even footprints, like someone had just cleaned the place. Water still flowed from the fountain in the village square. I had a strange feeling, like my body wanted to leave. But the sun was setting, and I was exhausted. I stepped inside a small stone house near the square. The door was unlocked. The inside was empty, but spotless. Not a single leaf on the floor. Silence pressed in. I set up my camp stove, cooked a simple meal, then sat on the stone steps out front and ate while looking at the stars. But the sky above Velinora, it seemed darker, thicker. By midnight, the wind had stopped. No rustling, no owls, no insects. Just complete silence. Then, I heard something inside the house. A faint tapping, like someone walking on tiptoes. I grabbed my flashlight and went in. Nothing. No sound. No movement. But when I stepped back outside, I saw someone in a window. At the far end of the village. Still. Motionless. Hidden in the dark. But I felt them. I shined the light. The window was empty. I looked away for just a second, and when I looked again, they were gone. I didn't go back inside. I sat with my back to the old well next to the house and waited for sunrise. But when morning came, the sun didn't. The sky stayed black. I checked my watch. 6:47 a.m. Still no light. I decided to leave. But the trail I came in on, gone. As if the village had erased it. By 12:15, still no sunrise, but the shadows, they started to move. I couldn't. I wasn't cold, wasn't hungry, but time had stopped. And then, the doors creaked open, one by one. No wind, no reason, every door, at once. That's when I ran. I didn't know where, I just ran. After that, it's a blur. Next thing I remember, I woke up at a train station. Some travelers found me. They said I nearly froze, but it wasn't fall anymore. It was the middle of summer. I don't know how long I was gone. If you've ever been somewhere where time broke, or if you've ever felt someone watching you and they never moved, tell your story in the comments. And if you want more tales like this, Don't forget to subscribe. Just, if you're hearing this at night, don't trust your watch. It took me a long time to share this story, because even now, I'm not sure if what I experienced was real. But if something like this has ever happened to you, leave a comment. Maybe I'm not the only one. It happened last summer. I had planned a solo camping trip in Washington State. I saw it as a detox, physically, mentally, everything. On a hiking forum, someone mentioned a place that didn't appear on maps, a village called Cedar Hollow. It had been abandoned years ago. No one lived there anymore, but a few old houses were still standing. I was curious, so I set my own coordinates into the GPS. After hiking 2 hours through mountain trails, I reached the forest. The path narrowed, the trees grew thicker, and then a few rooftops peeked through the trees. Cedar Hollow, 5 or 6 houses, an old school, a collapsed church. But the place didn't feel abandoned. It was quiet, yes, but something in the air felt wrong, like I was being watched. There was no dust. All the doors were shut. Most windows had curtains, and some of those curtains were slightly open. I chose a house next to the old school. The door was unlocked. The air inside wasn't musty like I expected. It was clean, fresh, like someone had just been breathing there. I set up my camp stove, sat on the porch, ate dinner, watched the sun go down, and then everything changed. The wind stopped. The sound stopped. Even the trees stood still. Around midnight, a sound came from inside. The front door, which I had closed, was slowly opening. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped inside. The door was wide open, but the room was empty. Then I saw it, a mirror on the far wall, but no reflection. Mine was missing. The mirror was still, but something inside it moved, and it wasn't me. I stepped back. The surface didn't ripple, but I could feel it. Something was there, right where I should have been. That night I stayed outside on the porch, tried to sleep, but I couldn't. The sky had no stars, time felt frozen. When I thought morning had come, it was still pitch black. I checked my watch. 7:32 a.m. But the darkness hadn't changed. I packed my gear and tried to leave, but the trail I came in on was gone, as if Cedar Hollow had erased it. Something was whispering, not like the wind, not words I could understand, but I knew what it meant. Stay. Every time I ran, I ended up on the same street, the same house, the same mirror. That's when I realized I wasn't leaving on my own. Everything after that is a blur. A truck driver found me at the edge of the forest. I had no shoes, no idea where I'd been, but my phone showed a date 3 weeks later. If you've ever camped somewhere where time stood still, or looked in a mirror and saw nothing, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. And if you're listening at night, think twice before looking in the mirror.